Okay guys, we're going to show you how to remove the main brush motor from a 626 EZ. Same thing would apply for a 626 LX 24 volt motor. This is the steps how to remove it. So what we're going to do first is cut these zip ties, give yourself a little more room to move around with the cables. Once you free those up, cut another one down in here. Easy to reattach later. Now that we got those moving, what we're gonna do is always make note of where these wires go. You got your two heavy reds, and back here will be your two blacks, which we'll see once we get this off. Make sure they go back in the same position. Pull the boots off. 13mm wrench. These machines are all metric. And then pull these 4 bolts. If you're doing a motor replacement, when you reassemble this, it's always a good idea to use dielectric grease on the contacts. Keeps anything from corroding in the future. Pull those. Now again, the heavy one goes on the right, the lighter one, the lighter gauge goes on the left. I'm going to pull this back now, take off the rear cables. There's a little copper spacer here. Get that one off and then pull the last one. Again, don't lose these little washers. You want to put them back on properly after. So back in here you can see this is actually a lighter gauge one. This is the heavier, goes on the right, just like the two front ones. It's pretty self-explanatory. As long as you leave them in that position, they'll only reach to go back in that side of things. Next we want to take off the main bolts down here, 17mm bolts. Gonna break those free. There's 4 of them in total. You want to take those completely out. The last one underneath is the tricky one. You want to get your wrench on the other side to hold it. And break it free. Once they're loose, they'll spin out by hand. Keep note of where the lock washers go. There's a lock washer on the nut side. Pull the bolt back. Now that all 4 bolts are free, what we can do is give the motor a little wiggle, loosen it off, and then with a flathead screwdriver, you want to just slowly work your way. Be careful of this casing because it's just cast. But as you wiggle and let the weight off the back of the motor, just get your screwdriver in there and wiggle it free. Okay, once you get it that far back, you want to get on the back side of it here. And just give it a little bit of wiggle. And there you go. Brush motor's out. Notice that there's a Woodruff key slot. When you're reassembling, you have to make sure that that key lines up with that slot in there. And then reassembly is just the opposite of that. That's all there is to it.